What's going on, guys? So we're going to be talking about control token today. We're going to be talking about Safemoon and Evergrow, what went wrong, and I'm going to be talking about the solution that I've had up my sleeve for a long time that I think will set itself apart from the rest of DeFi. I'm more bullish on control token than I was on Safemoon or Evergrow, and I'll show you why. First off, the tax for Safemoon was 20%. Tax for Evergrow was 28%. That did not stop either of those projects from absolutely exploding on the Binance chain. 28% tax is high. That's 14 in, 14 out. In 20% tax, that's 10 in, 10 out. So anybody who's making arguments that taxes prevent people from buying, it's just not true. It's happened in the past. It can happen again. And especially if you have a better structure. Um, so control token is a 35% tax. So it's 7% more than what Evergrow was. But the difference is that almost all of the tax for control token is going towards rewards. And it's super important that it does go towards rewards. Normally, everybody, and it's what this really comes down to is understanding crypto in a fundamental way, like the actual. And so, what's super important to understand is that people are seeking the value that's in the LP. That's all everybody's seeking. And they're hoping the value goes up a lot so that they can take the value out of the LP. That's what everybody's trying to do when they buy. They hope a bunch of people buy after them. They can pull that LP. What they don't realize is that the LP is a wealth distribution mechanism. It takes in wealth and it redistributes it based on the amount of tokens that come in. And it does it in a pyramid like structure. The early buyers who get in are going to have the most tokens for the cheapest. Everybody who gets in afterwards is going to, usually be the one screwed. And then after that sell off happens, the hype, the project, the sentiment, it all goes down the window as soon as that sell off happens. That's basically gone. So, what control token is doing is it's saying, what is it that people are seeking? The value in the liquidity pool. Through using a buy and a sell tax, 15% buy and a 20% sell, we're solving the number one problem that all of DeFi is struggling against, which is the pyramid like structure of how the distribution of wealth works with liquidity pools. It incentivizes the death of the project. People are not incentivized to help a project grow any further than their selling point. It's super important you understand this, that what the tax is doing, it's not just a tax like when you pay the government and you never see that money again. This tax isn't necessarily a tax, it's just a shifting of value. And what we do is we take that value and we shift it into the future rewards. And it's delayed stablecoin, appreciating stablecoin rewards. What that does is instead of having value in a liquidity pool, which after that's gone, the sentiment for the project is nothing, it creates real value, real sentiment in the future that's what people are seeking. And it preserves it by converting it to a stable coin. If the value of the liquidity pool goes down, it doesn't affect the rewards. If you're doing reflections like Safemoon was, as the value of the LP went down, the reflections were tied to that value. So the value of the reflections would go down as well. So by converting it into an appreciating stablecoin, you are preserving the value through all the volume, and you're by putting it into the future, you're creating something real to look forward to that creates actual that helps keep the project alive. So the tax is not necessarily a tax in this project; it's just shifting value into the future and rewarding people who deserve it the most, the holders. Those who hold should be rewarded. The people who sell are taking the project with them. They're destroying the project. They should not be getting all of the value of the project, and so the project dies. This is the entire point of control token, is to distribute wealth in a way that incentivizes the growth of the project and not the destruction of it. And so through that, you have to, because the problem is in the distribution mechanism of how the liquidity pool works, you have to counter that through a tax or through tokenomics, which we can use to redistribute wealth in a way that incentivizes the growth of the project. How do we do that? We need to reward the people who make it to the control event. Control event is the massive distribution of wealth, all the rewards to the people who make it there with the most amount of tokens. You're going to be getting the biggest amount of those rewards. Now, the liquidity pool, the value of the LP can always go down. Technically, it can go to zero, right? The value of the rewards, it can never go down. It can only go down once it's being distributed. So you have the real tangible value that can only go up in the future that you're looking towards. And then you have the value of the liquidity pool, which can go up and down. Because there's real value in the future of those rewards, it actually incentivizes holding and buying the dip, which does what to the liquidity pool? It actually incentivizes it to grow because you've alleviated that sell pressure. You've actually created real value in the future that people are looking forward to, and they feel safer whenever sells happen because they know that that value is still there and preserved. This is where this kind of gets really big. I'm trying to explain this as quickly as possible, but the ideas are huge. So, Safemoon reflections just enhance the number one problem, which was whales. The number one problem with every single project is whale dominance. Whales have way too much power. As soon as they sell, the project's dead. No one cares about it. It's impossible to get that sentiment back unless you have just the most amazing thing going on. And even then, it's very difficult. So, whale dominance and the pyramid like structure of crypto is what's holding everybody back from the price basically reaching its potential. As soon as whales sell, they stop that growth. But if they were to hold, they would allow the price to go to much greater heights. I think every single project could grow to massive heights if you alleviate that sell pressure. If you give whales a reason to hold, the only way to do that, because all the whales care about is value, is to shift value into the future. So with a buy and sell tax, we're taking almost all of that tax and we're just preserving it through a stable coin and putting it into the future. And so here's something that's really big right here that I think it's so important that you understand this, that with Evergrow or Safemoon, really let's stick with Evergrow just because they did the BUSD rewards. We're going to start right here that like when the Evergrow saw that its point where the sell-off happened, these whales who sold, everybody who sold for millions and hundreds of thousands of dollars, they got their rewards already because the rewards were being distributed immediately, right? Through it was amazing that the rewards were being preserved into a BUS coin, but they were being distributed immediately. What that allowed for is them to get their rewards and then to sell. And then after that, the price is down and getting that movement back upwards is almost impossible. And then the value or the volume, I'm sorry, is down as well. And if the volume's down, the rewards are down, and people don't have any reason to hold, and that creates even more sell pressure. But if instead of giving out those rewards immediately, you did it in a sense that is delayed staking rewards, then all the rewards that all the whales would have gotten, that $40 million, would have been put into the future. $40 million. Now, here's another thing is that because Reflections and SafeMoon and the BUSD rewards in Evergrow were being given to every single wallet, they were being greatly diluted, right? They're being given out to every single person. But if you only give it to the stakers, it greatly increases that for the stakers. It's like if you give $100 to 10 people, everybody gets $10. Not bad, right? But if you give $100 to two people, everybody gets $50. If eight people don't stake, they're forfeiting their rewards, and it greatly increases the rewards for the people that do stake. So, not only are we delaying the rewards in control token and have them in an appreciating stablecoin, but we're also putting it into the future. We're going to reward the people who hold the longest. By delaying it, we also create more incentive for volume, which actually will increase those rewards. If you think about it, most of the volume for Evergrow happened within a certain time frame of just months. But if those rewards were in the future, it's actually more likely, in my opinion, that the volume would have kept going and kept fueling those rewards to be even greater. Now, because control token, because basically 13% of the buy and 18% of the sell go towards rewards, that comes out to 31%. Well, Evergrow was 8%, I believe, and of the buy and sells, so it came out to 16%. I'm not trying to say this is better than Evergrow or any. I'm not trying to flood Evergrow at all. I still believe in Evergrow and its future, and I think that it has an amazing team and that they have massive potential for a price run. I'm just talking about what actually happened in the beginning of Evergrow and what this is doing differently. 16%, and so we have 35%. If we saw the volume that Evergrow saw, then we would be seeing twice as many rewards, but they wouldn't be being given out to all the whales, and then the whales would sell. They would be being put behind a staking contract and being given out to the people who hold the longest, meaning the people who didn't sell, who had the most tokens, would be getting most of those rewards. And those rewards are in the hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, right? Well, the rewards that Evergrow did was 40 million. the rewards for control token would already be almost double that. Uh, just by the tax alone, we're not spending any tax on burning tokens or going towards liquidity or anything like that. We only have 2% of the tax going towards paying the team and the dev work, because it would be stupid to not have that. Other than that, most of the tax, the purpose of the tax is not to have a tax. The purpose of the tax is to shift the value from the liquidity pool, the value that everyone is seeking, and put it into the future, so that now you've divided what people are seeking from the liquidity pool to the rewards. And it's real value. It's not just potential value, it's actually real value based on all the buys and sells. What that does, what this tax does for this tokenomics, is it creates a mindset where everyone is paying into the future of the project to keep it alive. That's amazing, because as soon as the value is taken out of the liquidity pool, the project dies. We need to put value into the future. That will keep the project alive. What does that do? It allows for the project to grow to the heights that everyone's hoping their projects to grows to. It gives something real and tangible to look forward to. It alleviates sell pressure. It creates actual incentive to buy the dip, not just hoping that a bunch of people buy in after you, but the fact that you'll be able to get more rewards, stablecoin appreciating rewards. The fact that the rewards are being converted to not just a stablecoin, which pegs it to the dollar, but an appreciating stablecoin, which only goes up in value. And not just the fact that it's not being distributed to every single wallet, which greatly dilutes it, but it's only being given to the stakers, and the stakers have to make it to the event. If you pull out of the staking contract and sell before the control event, then you forfeit your rewards, right? And these rewards can be very massive. The entire purpose of this is to shift value from the whales, who usually destroy projects and they're incentivized to, and to shift it into the people who deserve it the most, which is the people who hold the longest with the most tokens. If you have the most tokens in the staking contract, when these rewards are given out, you're going to get the biggest portion of those. Obviously, now the pre-sale is going to be the cheapest time to probably the cheapest time to get those rewards. I hate pre-sales, but my pre-sale is actually different because we have a 20% sell tax. And the tax isn't just, oh, it's just a tax. The tax is shifting value into the future to keep the project alive. You have to understand that everybody who comes into the project is going to be a less of a bad actor and more of a long-term thinker of like, okay, I'm paying this, but so is everybody else. And what is it that we're paying the tax for? To keep the project alive. What does that do? It allows for the growth to actually see the heights that we want it to. What does that do? It creates more volume. What does that do? It creates bigger rewards. What does that do? It creates more demand on the token. It all is kind of fueling into what it is that everybody wants, and into a big event, which I think was going to be massive. It's going to be near the Bitcoin all-time high. But because my presale has that 20% tax, it should hopefully preserve the actual pre-sellers. Now, most pre-sellers, if you do a pre-sale, you're getting burned by people using bots, quickly dumping on you at launch. The price just like tanks, and you're like, why are we doing this? Why would anyone do a pre-sale? Well, the entire point of a pre-sale is that you're supposed to be getting that floor value. You're the one taking a risk at the earliest time of a project, right? When it doesn't have mass FOMO. And the entire idea is that you get a floor value and everyone can get that same value because the price doesn't change. With the liquidity pool, as people buy and sell, the price goes up and down. But when a pre-sale, you're able to say everyone's going to get the same price. And this should be the floor. So through the 20% tax, if anybody were to come out of the pre-sale and try to sell immediately, they'd just be selling at a loss, which means they would just be literally just forfeiting value to everybody else. Even though the charts would show red, if somebody was dumb enough to sell at a loss, it actually means that that person basically lost money and gave it the whole project. But I don't think people are that dumb. It's possible, but hopefully, through this tax, which the tax isn't for me, the tax is for the future of the project. Everybody, it's super important you understand the tax is everyone paying for the project to stay alive. And if you think about it, with like ETH gas fees, you're basically paying a tax that is just for using that chain, right? It's so freaking high. It's hundreds of dollars. It's so much money. And so if you're doing this pre-sale, you're paying a tax, but that tax is actually being used to benefit the future of the project. And so what we're doing is we are aligning people's incentives. Instead of being incentivized to destroy the project, which I'm telling you, literally all of crypto, everyone is only incentivized to grow a project until their selling point. Most people want, after they sell, the project to go down. They don't want it to do any better than um, unless they sell, because then they feel like, oh, I could have sold for even more. So a lot of people, when they sell, they're hoping the project goes down. Usually, not all the time, but most of the time. So, in most crypto, and it's because of the pyramid like structure of how a liquidity pool works, everyone's incentivized to destroy the project. We need to incentivize people to keep the project alive. We do that through tax, through tokenomics, and through shifting value and preserving it and giving it out to the future to those who held the longest. Usually, the people who are screwed the most, like with Safemoon, are those who held and bought the dip the longest. With a structure like this in place, not only am I targeting the number one problem with all of crypto, not only am I I'm utilizing the number one factor of why a crypto grows, which is that initial growth. You want to preserve that as long as possible to allow it to reach its maximum potential, which I don't think any crypto ever comes close to what the maximum potential of what the growth of the project could reach, of what the liquidity pool could reach, because it's always slowed down or stopped. A project only grows as long as whales allow it to. But if you create a structure for whales where they know, yeah, this guy sold, but he just forfeited his rewards and he paid into it, and there's a lot more reason for not just us whales, but for the smaller holders and outside holders to buy the dip so that they can get those rewards. And because these rewards are there, it actually creates a structure where it's more likely to predict that the price will go up because of the demand than it is that it will go down. Now, I'm not saying it's guaranteed to go up or it's guaranteed to go down. I'm just saying there, because we have actual incentivization towards the future, it creates a structure where buying the project actually is incentivized to grow up. And by alleviating that fear of selling, which a lot of people go, oh, if you think something's going to go up, you're not going to sell, right? If you're confident like this is going to go way further, you're going to hold. And so the structure of the math of the distribution mechanism through the tax incentivizes that. And I think that what that will do is it will create people who come in long term. And what that does is it allows the project to explode. What that does is that creates high volume, high rewards, so that when people finally do reach their selling points, which my goal is to make those much higher than what you would ever get from a taxless token. I can't guarantee that, but that's what the goal of the tax is, to let the project grow to its full potential. Let's not let the project die because some whales hit their selling points and a few people get rich while everybody gets screwed. Let's fix this structure through tokenomics. Let's create a project that does blow up, that is safer, where everyone's paying into the future, and where I said the people who are usually screwed the most, the people who bought the most, who held the most towards the end of Safemoon, you're the biggest losers. If this structure had been in place, was for Safemoon, the people who held the most into the control event would have been greatly rewarded. They would have gotten the rewards of all the whales who left. All those rewards would have been preserved into an appreciating stablecoin, and they would have gotten all of those rewards. So there is actually a lot to Control Token. I could talk about it, and I have talked about it a lot. I'm just trying to give you an idea of what I think this can be. You know, I'm doing the marketing for this, but I think that the idea itself, if the idea works, which I think it will, it'll do its own marketing. It'll do it through the charts, I believe. And people will, it'll naturally grow, and people will be like, why is this doing well? Why isn't it dumping like every other thing? How is it doing this? And then they start to understand the idea, and I think it will naturally grow. That's my vision for it. I can't guarantee anything. I can't guarantee anything about price or anything like that. All I can say is what we're aiming to do is to create something where you allow a project to grow. And the implications of that, if the project grows, then so does the price. Now, I can't guarantee that, right? But the entire point of Control Token is it has two main goals and one third goal. What the main goal is to distribute wealth more fairly. It doesn't need to be a couple people selling for hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars while everybody else loses. What if they gave a fifth of that back to the project? What if every person who's leaving the project was leaving behind a portion for those who actually committed and stayed? Distribute wealth more fairly. Pyramid structure of the LP is ruining every single project. And the only way to fix that is to redistribute wealth in a different way that incentivizes the future. I hope people understand that. The other, really the number one main goal, this is more of a number two. It's amazing, but the number one is that I believe the initial FOMO, when the price and the project is growing, that is the most easiest, most important time for a project. It's initial growth, because everyone's looking to be early. If they see a chart that's already down, they're not interested. They feel like the whales have sold. They've taken all the interest with them. But We want to utilize what's actually causing projects to grow. We don't want to lie to people. Most projects are making promises and those promises aren't coming true. I'm saying look at what actually causes a project to grow. It is its initial growth in the beginning, and as the price goes up and as the holders go up and as the project grows, it kind of goes up exponentially, right? As long as you allow it to keep going up, it will massively explode. I want to allow that to reach its maximum potential. I don't want it to be halted by the whales, and I can't just plead with them, guys, please don't, please allow the project to grow. I have to actually incentivize them. And the only way to do that is to give them what they're looking for. What is it they're looking for? The value in the liquidity pool. How do I push that into the future without losing its value? I have to convert it to a stable coin, and I have to give it out in a delayed manner, leading up into one big event, the control event. And the third purpose of this is I don't like the structure of the pyramid-like structure of the liquidity pool, where if you look at a project that does appear to have done well or has established itself, you're like, I'm way too late and the gains aren't big enough. And so the third goal of this is to create something where people can get in later and still be rewarded. And I believe that through the rewards and that through changing the structure, which allows the price to go up instead of only down, that and through changing the structure, I'm sorry, I need to word that differently. Through changing the pyramid-like structure of the liquidity pool to one that incentivizes the future, you allow for people to actually get in and expect the price to go up, other than just expecting it to go down. So these are the main purposes of control token. The last things I would say about this, and there's a lot I can say about this. There's a lot I'm not telling you that it would potentially make you much more bullish, from the partnerships to how the reward distribution works. It's given out every month, every 6 months, and every 12 months. So it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, leading up into the biggest giveaway of those rewards to those that held the longest with the most amount of tokens. It's honestly an amazing ideal, and I love this. I love everything about this, and I am more bullish on it than anything I've seen. But another important part about it is, I talked about the pre-sale and how that pre-sale actually is, it's the earliest point. And what you want to do is you want to find a project in the earliest point. So you are as early as possible, right? You want to be a whale. Everybody wants to be that giant red candle. Nobody would ever phrase it that way, but that's what everybody's seeking. They want to go and dump on a bunch of people. Control token is in its earliest stages. We're in the pre-sale, and most pre-sales suck. This pre-sale, like I said, with that 20% tax, hopefully will guarantee that this is the floor value. This is the cheapest, if the project does well, cheapest, most valuable time for the project, and for the holders to get a lot of tokens, not only for the price growth if you're wanting to take profits, but also for the staking and getting those rewards. If you start staking as soon as control token starts, we're going to put it a year out. And so you'll have... we'll have 12 months into the control event. Control event is the biggest rewards. You'll get monthly rewards still. You'll still get monthly rewards that are stable appreciating coin, and you'll also be getting the 6 month. So the monthly is 2% of the tax. So 2% XUSD is going to be given out every single month. If you're staking for that month, you're going to get those rewards. So it's not, you don't have to wait for a long time to get the 2%. But the 4% of the tax is going towards the 6 month. So no matter how good the 2% is for those first 6 months, there's also a tax building up at the 6 month that's going to be double whatever all of this is, and not just double, but it's going to be given out at the same time as the 6 month as well. So when the 6 month happens, you'll get the 1 month and the 6 month for that month. It'll stack. And so no matter what, the 6 month is always going to be twice as big as all the volume for those previous months. There's no way to get in, get good rewards, and then the rewards in the future are going to be less. The rewards in the future will always be greater. During that time, there's the biggest part of the tax is going to be 7% of the buys and 12% of sells, because we're trying to counter the negative effects of sells, and we're trying to keep the project alive. And we're trying to do that in a real way, not a hypothetical way. So 7 to 12% will be building up for 12 months, right? 12 months. No matter what, that's guaranteed to be almost 2 to 3 times bigger than the 6 month event, and it's building up for an entire year. When the 12 month gives out, it'll be 7% of buys built up for an entire year and 12% of sells built up for an entire year of appreciating stablecoin that's only going to stakers. And it'll, when the 12 month happens in the control event, this is why the control event is so big. It also is going to happen at the same time as the second 6 month event, which is the 4% for the last 6 months. And on top of that, it's also going to happen at the same time as the last month leading up into the control event. So you'll be getting basically 2% for the last month, 4% for the last 6 months, and 7 to 12% of the last 12 months, all built up into one huge appreciating stablecoin reward giveaway. I could go over price and how cheap it is to get tokens and how easy it would be, the potential for the price movement upward being incentivized through the structure, and the rewards, the ability to get a lot of rewards. I personally would play both of those. In my opinion, I would play for being able to take profits. So have a bag that I don't stake, and then I want a bag that I do stake, something that I do stake early on. The last thing I would say that's important to understand about this is that in order to stake, you have to commit your tokens for a certain amount of time frame. Most of you should be doing a year so that you can get the year rewards. You can do less if you don't want the rewards, but you want to do the year. And so you commit staking for a year. You can pull out any time, but if you break your contract, you forfeit 30% of your tokens to the control event. What that means is that everyone who leaves the staking contract early is going to be forfeiting 30% of their tokens to the staking contract. So not only are you going to be getting all of these huge rewards that are building up for the entire year, but also you're going to be getting 30% of everybody who left the staking contract to sell. What we're doing through these structures is anyone who's leaving the project, they don't get to take the project with them. If they leave the staking contract, they're forfeiting 30% of their tokens. If they sell, they're paying a 20% tax. If they sell, they're getting rid of their tokens and they're no longer able to get those rewards. So we're shifting a lot of value from the people that are leaving the project to the people who are staying in the project. And it's in a very big sense. It can't be in a small sense, otherwise it doesn't matter. It has to be in a big way. I'd probably have a bigger tax if I could, but I feel like 35% buy, 15% buy, 20% sell is actually pretty good. And that will leave you with a lot of value in the future that people can actually get. And hopefully Control Token actually helps people make money, and it does it in a more fair way instead of just the rug pulls, the scams, the pump and dumps. Even if you get rid of all those things, you're going to have your early buyers. The early buyers are only going to allow the project to go up so much before they sell, and then the project's dead, and a bunch of people got screwed over. The entire point of all of this structure is to align our incentives with the future of the project instead of the death of it. And I think with that, I think we might see something quite magical going into the next Bitcoin bull run when the most money is going to be available for alts. And my confidence isn't in anything other than the solving the heart of all of the problem of DeFi while capitalizing on the reason that projects grow, while utilizing the most important tool of a project, which is its community. The power is in the community, and if you take a little bit from the community, the whole community, and you put it into the future, and you reward the community who holds and supports the project, I think you created an amazing structure that'll actually do what a lot of people are seeking to happen in DeFi. And this is all math. This isn't like it's math dealing with psychology. It's getting down to the root of what's actually going on. It's not like bullcrap. It's not like, oh, there's going to be an amazing partnership that's going to cause the price to go up, and then that partnership happens or that utility launches and it doesn't affect the price at all. It's like, how about we stop working on things that might affect the price and we just take the value of everyone getting into it, and we reward the future holders. We're taking that tax and we're keeping the project alive by using the tax that's being paid on the buys and sells for the future of the project. So definitely go check it out at controltoken.net, guys. I have a video on it. Pre-sale's probably not going to run much longer, but we're only going to go for a month, and it's already been a couple weeks, so maybe a couple more weeks. Maybe I'll extend it. And then, like I said, most pre-sales suck. This pre-sale actually, because of the sell tax, you'd be an idiot to sell for a loss, and nobody gets to escape that. Also, another thing I haven't said during this video is that nobody's getting any free tokens, right? No one's getting any tokens. I don't get tokens. My mom doesn't get tokens. My dog doesn't get tokens. My best friend, no one's getting tokens. We do have some partnerships lined up with Evergrow and with DeFi Mark, and we have some potential interview that might actually help bring a lot of attention to this. And so those things are to look forward to. You can join the Discord or you can do the pre-sale. When you go to do the pre-sale, after you connect your wallet and you go to hit contribute, you have to go back into your wallet to confirm it. Otherwise, you'll get stuck there. So keep all that in mind. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out to me through the Discord or through my Twitter. And I'll see you guys in the next video.